Too many people spend their lives waiting for permission to lead. They wait for a promotion, a title, or someone to tell them they're finally worthy. But leadership has never begun with authority. It begins with responsibility. Today, I'm going to show you why the people who change the world are the ones who choose to lead long before anyone gives them a position. One of the greatest misconceptions about leadership is the belief that it begins the moment someone receives a title. People often assume that becoming a manager, director, CEO, or team leader automatically makes someone a leader. In reality, a title may give you authority, but it can never guarantee influence. Authority can require people to follow your instructions, but true leadership inspires people to willingly follow your example. Leadership is not something granted by an organization. It is a choice you make every single day through your actions, your attitude, and your commitment to serving others. Many people spend years waiting for permission to lead. They believe they need more experience, a higher position, or official recognition before they can make a meaningful difference. While they wait, opportunities to create positive change pass them by. They underestimate the influence they already possess. Every conversation, every decision, every act of kindness, every promise they keep, and every example they set has the potential to inspire someone else. Leadership does not begin when your business card changes. It begins when your mindset changes. Think about the people who have influenced your life the most. In many cases, they were not necessarily the people with the highest titles. They may have been a teacher who believed in you before anyone else did, a coworker who remained calm during difficult moments, a friend who encouraged you when you wanted to give up, or a family member whose integrity quietly shaped your character. Their influence came from who they were, not from the position they held. They demonstrated that leadership is measured by impact rather than status. Choosing to lead means accepting responsibility before it is required. It means looking for solutions instead of waiting for someone else to solve problems. It means encouraging others even when no one asks you to. It means taking ownership when mistakes happen instead of searching for someone to blame. These actions require no official authority. They require only the willingness to step forward when others hesitate. Many organizations make the mistake of promoting individuals based solely on technical ability. Someone becomes excellent at their job and receives a leadership position. Yet technical skill alone does not prepare someone to lead people. Leadership demands emotional intelligence, humility, communication patience, and the ability to build trust. Without these qualities, authority may create compliance, but it rarely creates commitment. People may do what they are told because they have to, but they will not give their best because they choose to. True leaders understand that influence is earned gradually. Every interaction either strengthens or weakens the trust people place in them. Every promise kept builds credibility. Every honest conversation strengthens relationships. Every difficult decision handled with integrity increases respect. Leadership is built one consistent action at a time, not through one impressive speech or one important promotion. Another important truth is that leadership is available to everyone. You do not need a corner office to lead. You can lead within your family by demonstrating patience, responsibility, and love. You can lead among friends by encouraging honesty and growth. You can lead within your workplace by helping others succeed, sharing knowledge, and maintaining a positive attitude during difficult circumstances. Wherever people interact, opportunities for leadership already exist. Leadership also requires courage because choosing to lead often means acting before certainty arrives. It means speaking up when something is wrong. It means protecting values even when compromise would be easier. It means making decisions that may not be popular but are necessary for long-term success. Waiting for perfect confidence often results in missed opportunities. Great leaders understand that courage usually comes before confidence, not after it. One of the greatest dangers is believing leadership belongs only to extraordinary people. History often highlights famous leaders, but lasting change is frequently created by ordinary individuals who consistently choose responsibility over excuses. Small acts of integrity, encouragement, accountability, and service performed every day quietly transform teams, families, businesses, and communities. These seemingly ordinary choices accumulate into extraordinary influence because people naturally trust those whose actions consistently match their words. When leadership becomes a choice instead of a position, your influence no longer depends on permission from others. It depends on the character you demonstrate, the example you set, the responsibility you accept, and the positive impact you choose to create wherever you are, proving that true leadership begins long before anyone recognizes it with a title. Many people believe authority is the foundation of leadership, but authority alone has never inspired lasting loyalty. A title may convince people to listen for a moment, but trust is what convinces them to follow for a lifetime. Every successful leader understands that before asking people to believe in your vision, they must first believe in your character. Trust is not something you demand. It is something you earn through consistent actions, honest communication, and genuine concern for others. Without trust, leadership becomes control. With trust, leadership becomes influence. Think about the people you naturally respect. It is rarely because of the position they hold. More often, it is because they consistently do what they say they will do. They remain honest even when dishonesty would benefit them. They accept responsibility instead of blaming others. They treat everyone with dignity regardless of status. These qualities create confidence because people know what to expect from them. Predictable integrity builds trust, and trust creates the foundation upon which real leadership stands. One of the fastest ways to lose trust is through inconsistency. People pay far more attention to what you do than to what you say. A leader who talks about accountability but constantly avoids responsibility weakens credibility. Someone who encourages teamwork but consistently seeks personal recognition sends conflicting messages. Every inconsistency creates doubt because actions always communicate louder than words. Trust grows when your behavior repeatedly reflects the values you claim to believe. Honesty is one of the most powerful ingredients of trust. Many leaders believe admitting mistakes will make them appear weak. In reality, pretending to be perfect often creates greater distance between leaders and the people they serve. Honest leaders acknowledge when they make mistakes, accept responsibility, and focus on learning rather than protecting their image. This kind of humility strengthens trust because people recognize authenticity. They do not expect perfection. They expect honesty. Listening is another essential part of earning trust. Many individuals confuse leadership with speaking. They believe the leader is always the person giving instructions or providing answers. However, great leaders spend just as much time listening as they do speaking. They seek to understand before trying to be understood. They ask thoughtful questions. They make people feel heard and respected. When people believe their voice matters, trust naturally grows because they know they are valued rather than simply managed. Trust is also built through reliability. Every promise you keep becomes another reason for people to believe in you. Every commitment you honor strengthens your reputation. On the other hand, repeatedly missing deadlines, forgetting responsibilities, or making promises you cannot fulfill gradually damages credibility. Even small commitments matter because people often judge character through everyday consistency rather than dramatic moments. Another important truth is that trust requires patience. It cannot be rushed or demanded. Many people expect immediate influence after receiving a leadership position, but genuine trust develops over time. Every conversation, every decision, and every interaction either strengthens or weakens the confidence others have in you. Just as trust takes time to build, it can disappear quickly if integrity is compromised. This is why wise leaders protect their character more carefully than their reputation. Reputation depends on what others think about you. Character depends on who you truly are. Empathy also plays a critical role in earning trust. People want to know that their leader genuinely cares about them as human beings rather than simply viewing them as tools for achieving results. Taking time to understand someone's challenges, celebrating their progress, offering encouragement during difficult moments, and showing compassion when life becomes complicated all communicate a simple but powerful message: you matter. That message creates loyalty that authority alone can never produce. Trust becomes even more important during difficult times. Anyone can appear confident when everything is going well. True leadership is revealed when uncertainty, setbacks, or failure arrive. In those moments, people watch how leaders respond. Do they remain calm or become defensive? Do they blame others or accept responsibility? Do they communicate honestly or hide the truth? Difficult seasons often strengthen trust when leaders remain transparent, composed, and committed to serving those around them. Leadership without trust is like building a house on weak foundations. It may appear strong for a while, but eventually pressure exposes every weakness. When trust exists, people willingly contribute their ideas, support one another, embrace change, and remain committed even when challenges arise. They follow not because they are required to, but because they believe in the person leading them. Long before authority gives someone the right to lead, trust gives people the reason to follow, creating influence that continues to grow through integrity, consistency, humility, and genuine care for others. One of the most powerful forms of leadership requires no speeches, no authority, and no special position. It requires only one thing: your example. People may listen to what you say, but they almost always remember what you do. Your daily actions communicate your values far more clearly than your words ever can. This is why great leaders understand that leadership is not about giving instructions from the front of the room. It is about living the standard you hope others will follow. Before you expect commitment from others, you must first demonstrate it yourself. Many people believe leadership is about influencing others through persuasion. But the strongest influence comes through consistency. Imagine working with someone who constantly encourages accountability but never accepts responsibility for their own mistakes. Eventually, their words lose meaning because their actions tell a different story. Now imagine someone who quietly arrives prepared every day, treats everyone with respect, remains calm under pressure, and consistently delivers on their promises. Without saying much, that person becomes a source of inspiration, because people naturally trust those whose actions consistently match their values. Leading by example begins with the smallest decisions. It is arriving on time when punctuality matters. It is finishing work with excellence even when no one is watching. It is treating every person with kindness regardless of their role or status. It is remaining honest when dishonesty would be easier. These ordinary moments often seem insignificant, but together they shape your credibility. Leadership is rarely built through one extraordinary action. It is built through thousands of ordinary actions repeated consistently over time. One of the greatest mistakes people make is expecting behavior from others that they are unwilling to demonstrate themselves. Parents ask children to be respectful while speaking disrespectfully. Managers demand commitment while arriving unprepared. Leaders encourage teamwork while taking credit for every success. These contradictions weaken influence because people quickly recognize inconsistency. Your example either strengthens your message or completely undermines it. Leadership by example also requires discipline. There will be days when doing the right thing feels inconvenient. There will be moments when shortcuts appear tempting or excuses seem justified. During those times, your choices become especially important because they reveal your true character. Anyone can maintain high standards when circumstances are easy. Real leadership appears when values remain unchanged despite pressure, criticism, or difficulty. Consistency during challenging moments inspires confidence because people know your principles are not dependent on convenience. Another important aspect of leading by example is maintaining a positive attitude during adversity. Every team, family, or organization eventually experiences setbacks. Problems arise, expectations change, and uncertainty becomes unavoidable. In those moments, people naturally look toward individuals who remain calm, hopeful, and focused on solutions. Your attitude becomes contagious. If you panic, others often panic as well. If you remain steady, others gain confidence. Leadership is not pretending problems do not exist. It is demonstrating that challenges can be faced with courage, wisdom, and resilience. Humility is another quality that strengthens leadership through example. Some people believe leaders must always appear perfect. In reality, admitting mistakes often builds greater respect than pretending to have all the answers. Humble leaders apologize when they are wrong, ask for feedback, and remain open to learning from others regardless of experience or position. This willingness to grow encourages the people around them to do the same because they see that improvement matters more than protecting one's ego. Leading by example also means serving before expecting recognition. Many individuals focus on becoming visible, believing leadership is about receiving attention. Genuine leaders think differently. They ask how they can help others succeed, how they can remove obstacles, and how they can contribute to the growth of those around them. They understand that influence is earned through service rather than self-promotion. Their actions communicate care, responsibility, and commitment, creating loyalty that cannot be demanded through authority alone. The remarkable thing about example is that its influence extends far beyond what you can immediately see. A kind word may encourage someone to persevere during a difficult season. Your honesty may inspire another person to choose integrity in a challenging situation. Your discipline may motivate someone to raise their own standards. Often, you will never know how many lives have been shaped simply because you chose to act according to your values instead of your emotions. True leadership begins long before anyone recognizes it because example speaks continuously. Every decision, every habit, every conversation, and every response to adversity teaches others something about what you believe. When your actions consistently reflect integrity, discipline, humility, responsibility, and compassion, you create an influence that does not depend on titles or authority, allowing people to follow not because they are required to, but because your example has already shown them the kind of leader worth trusting. One of the greatest misunderstandings about leadership is the belief that leadership is about being in charge. Many people associate leadership with power, authority, and control. They believe the purpose of becoming a leader is to have others work for them. In reality, the opposite is true. The best leaders understand that leadership is not about having people serve you. It is about choosing to serve the people you lead. The moment leadership becomes focused on personal status, instead of helping others succeed, influence begins to disappear. Titles may create obedience, but service creates trust, loyalty, and lasting respect. Serving others does not mean becoming weak or allowing people to take advantage of you. It means placing the success, growth, and being of your team above your own ego. A servant leader asks a different set of questions every day. Instead of asking, "How can people help me achieve my goals?" they ask, "How can I help people become better?" This simple shift changes the entire culture of a team, a family, or an organization because people feel valued rather than used. Think about the leaders who have made the greatest impact on your life. They probably did more than give instructions. They listened when you struggled. They believed in your potential before you believed in yourself. They encouraged you after mistakes instead of constantly criticizing you. They invested time in your growth instead of focusing only on results. Those actions communicated something powerful. Your success matters to me. That message builds loyalty far more effectively than authority ever could. Many people confuse leadership with being the smartest person in the room. They believe they must always provide every answer and make every important decision. Great leaders think differently. They recognize that their role is not to have all the answers, but to create an environment where others can contribute their best ideas. They empower people instead of controlling them. They develop future leaders instead of creating followers who depend on them for every decision. Serving others also requires genuine humility. Humility is not thinking less of yourself. It is thinking less about yourself. Humble leaders do not constantly seek recognition or personal credit. When the team succeeds, they celebrate everyone involved. When mistakes happen, they accept responsibility instead of shifting blame. This approach creates psychological safety because people know they will be supported rather than humiliated when challenges arise. One of the greatest acts of service a leader can provide is creating opportunities for others to grow. This often means coaching instead of criticizing. It means teaching instead of simply correcting. It means giving people meaningful responsibilities that stretch their abilities instead of protecting them from every challenge. Growth sometimes feels uncomfortable, but servant leaders understand that temporary discomfort often leads to lasting development. They are willing to invest time and patience because they care about the long-term success of those around them. Listening is another essential expression of service. In many organizations, people feel unheard. Their opinions are ignored, their concerns are dismissed, and their ideas remain unspoken because they believe no one truly cares. Leaders who genuinely listen communicate respect without saying a single word. They seek understanding before offering solutions. They ask thoughtful questions. They make eye contact. They remember details that matter. These simple actions strengthen relationships because people naturally trust those who make them feel seen and valued. Serving others also means protecting the culture you want to build. Every team eventually faces conflict, pressure, and uncertainty. During those moments, servant leaders remain calm. They defend fairness, encourage honesty, and model integrity even when compromise would be easier. They understand that leadership is not measured by how people behave during comfortable seasons, but by how they are treated during difficult ones. Another important aspect of servant leadership is recognizing that influence grows through generosity rather than control. Sharing knowledge, mentoring others, offering encouragement, and celebrating someone else's success do not reduce your influence, they increase it. People naturally follow individuals who consistently help them become better because they know those leaders genuinely care about something greater than personal achievement. The strongest organizations, families, and communities are built by leaders who understand that success is never a solo accomplishment. It is created when people feel trusted, respected, encouraged, and empowered to contribute their best. Leadership becomes less about standing above others and more about lifting others higher. When your daily decisions are guided by service instead of status, by compassion instead of control, and by the desire to help others grow instead of seeking personal recognition, your influence begins reaching far beyond your position because people willingly choose to follow someone who consistently places their well-being ahead of personal power. Many people believe influence comes from power. They assume that if they have enough authority, a higher position, or the ability to control decisions, people will naturally follow them. While power can force compliance, it cannot create commitment. People may obey instructions because they have no choice, but genuine leadership is never built on fear or control. It is built on purpose. The leaders who leave the greatest impact are not remembered because they had the most authority. They are remembered because they inspired people to believe in something greater than themselves. Purpose gives leadership meaning. Without purpose, leadership becomes a series of tasks, meetings, and decisions with no deeper direction. People may complete their responsibilities, but they often lack passion and commitment because they do not understand why their work matters. Great leaders understand that people are not inspired by instructions alone. They are inspired when they see how their efforts contribute to a meaningful mission. When individuals understand the purpose behind their work, they become more motivated, more creative, and more willing to overcome challenges. Think about the difference between someone who says, "Finish this project because I told you to," and someone who says, "This project will improve the lives of thousands of people, and your contribution is essential." The task itself may be identical, but the motivation completely changes. Purpose transforms ordinary work into meaningful contribution. It reminds people that what they do each day has value beyond completing another assignment or meeting another deadline. Leading through purpose also requires clarity. If you do not know what you stand for, others will struggle to trust your direction. Every leader should be able to answer simple but powerful questions. Why does this work matter? What values guide every decision? What kind of impact are we trying to create? These answers become a compass that keeps people united during difficult moments. When challenges arise, purpose reminds everyone why the journey is worth continuing. One of the greatest strengths of purpose-driven leadership is that it creates intrinsic motivation. Power relies on external pressure. Purpose awakens internal commitment. A person working only for rewards or avoiding punishment often does the minimum required. A person connected to a meaningful purpose willingly gives extra effort because the motivation comes from within. They no longer work merely to complete tasks. They work because they believe in the mission. Purpose also creates resilience. Every meaningful journey includes obstacles, setbacks, and moments of uncertainty. During those seasons, people who are motivated only by external rewards often lose enthusiasm. Those driven by purpose remain committed because their motivation reaches deeper than temporary circumstances. They understand that difficult moments are part of achieving something worthwhile rather than evidence that they should quit. Another important principle is that purpose must be demonstrated through actions, not just words. Many leaders speak about values but fail to live according to them. They talk about integrity while compromising honesty. They encourage teamwork while seeking personal recognition. They promote trust while hiding important information. These contradictions weaken influence because people quickly notice when actions and values fail to align. Authentic leadership requires consistency between what you believe and how you behave every day. Purpose-driven leaders also focus on developing people rather than simply managing performance. They recognize that every individual wants to feel significant. People want to know that their talents matter, their ideas are respected, and their work contributes to something meaningful. When leaders invest in helping others grow, they communicate that people are more valuable than short-term results. This creates loyalty because individuals naturally commit themselves to leaders who genuinely care about their development. Influence built on purpose spreads naturally because inspired people inspire others. A leader who consistently demonstrates vision, integrity, compassion, and commitment creates an environment where those qualities become contagious. Team members begin encouraging one another, solving problems together, and taking ownership without waiting for instructions, because the purpose has become part of the culture rather than remaining only the leader's vision. One of the greatest dangers of relying on power is that power often disappears when the position changes. Titles end, roles change, organizations evolve. But purpose-driven influence continues because it is rooted in character rather than authority. People remember how you made them feel, how you inspired them to grow, and how you helped them believe in something greater than themselves. Long after positions are forgotten, purpose continues shaping lives because genuine influence has never depended on power alone. It has always depended on the ability to connect people to a meaningful vision that encourages them to become the very best version of themselves while working together toward a cause that matters far beyond individual success. One of the greatest barriers to leadership is the belief that someone else must give you permission before you can make a difference. Many people spend years waiting for the perfect opportunity, the ideal position, or official recognition before they decide to step forward. They tell themselves they will lead once they receive a promotion, gain more experience, or earn a certain title. But leadership has never belonged to those who wait for permission. It belongs to those who choose responsibility before recognition. The people who create lasting impact are often the ones who act when no one asks them to, simply because they know something needs to be done. Courage is not the absence of fear. Every leader experiences uncertainty, self-doubt, and the possibility of failure. The difference is that courageous people refuse to let fear become the deciding voice. They understand that waiting until they feel completely confident often means waiting forever. Confidence is rarely the starting point. It is usually the result of taking action despite uncertainty. Every time you step forward without guarantees, you strengthen your belief in your own ability to handle challenges. Many people underestimate how much influence they already have. They assume leadership only belongs to executives, managers, or public figures. In reality, every conversation, every decision, and every example you set influences someone, whether you realize it or not. People observe how you respond under pressure, how you treat others, and how you handle responsibility. You do not need permission to encourage someone, solve a problem, share an idea, or support a teammate. Those choices are available every single day, regardless of your position. Waiting for permission often becomes an excuse disguised as preparation. People convince themselves they need one more course, one more certification, or one more year of experience before they are ready. While continuous learning is valuable, there comes a point where preparation becomes procrastination. Growth happens through action, not endless planning. Every meaningful achievement begins with someone deciding they are willing to learn while moving forward instead of waiting until they feel perfectly prepared. History repeatedly shows that the most influential leaders often challenged the belief that permission was required. They noticed problems others accepted as normal. They questioned outdated systems. They introduced new ideas despite criticism and resistance. If they had waited for universal approval, many important changes would never have happened. Innovation requires the courage to think independently and the willingness to act even when others remain hesitant. Another important truth is that courage becomes stronger through repetition. The first difficult conversation feels uncomfortable. The first time you volunteer for greater responsibility creates anxiety. The first time you speak up during an important meeting may feel intimidating. Yet every courageous action expands your comfort zone. What once seemed impossible gradually becomes natural because your mind begins collecting evidence that you are capable of handling difficult situations. Courage is developed the same way muscles are developed, through repeated use. Acting without permission also requires taking ownership instead of waiting for instructions. Some people constantly ask, "What should I do?" Others ask, "What can I do?" That small difference reveals a completely different mindset. Ownership means identifying opportunities, solving problems before they become larger, helping others without being asked, and contributing wherever possible. Leaders do not wait for ideal conditions. They improve the conditions they have. There will always be critics who question your decisions or doubt your abilities. If your willingness to lead depends on universal approval, you will rarely take meaningful action. Every important decision carries the possibility of criticism because different people have different expectations and perspectives. Courageous leaders understand that pleasing everyone is impossible. Instead, they remain committed to their values, make thoughtful decisions, and accept that criticism is often the price of meaningful progress. Taking initiative also inspires others to do the same. When one person demonstrates responsibility without being told, it creates a ripple effect throughout a team or organization. Others begin believing they also have permission to contribute ideas, solve problems, and take ownership. Leadership spreads because courage is contagious. One person's willingness to step forward often gives others the confidence to do the same. The world does not need more people waiting for perfect timing. It needs people willing to act with integrity, responsibility, and purpose even before recognition arrives. Every opportunity you seize, every challenge you accept, every difficult conversation you face, and every positive action you take without waiting for someone else's approval strengthens your ability to lead. Over time, those consistent acts of courage build a reputation that no title can create, proving that true leadership has always belonged to those who choose action over hesitation and responsibility over permission. Every person leaves something behind. The only question is whether that legacy will be remembered through titles, achievements, and possessions, or through the lives they helped change. Many people spend their entire careers chasing promotions, recognition, and success, believing those things define great leadership. While accomplishments certainly matter, they are rarely what people remember most. Long after your position is forgotten, people will remember how you made them feel, how you treated them during difficult moments, and whether your leadership helped them become better versions of themselves. A true legacy is never built through authority alone. It is built through consistent acts of character, service, and influence that continue affecting others long after you are gone. One of the greatest misconceptions about legacy is that it is created in a single extraordinary moment. In reality, legacy is built through ordinary decisions repeated over many years. It is formed every time you choose honesty instead of convenience, responsibility instead of excuses, kindness instead of indifference, and courage instead of comfort. Most people overlook these small decisions because they seem insignificant, yet these are the moments that quietly shape your character. Character becomes reputation, reputation becomes influence, and influence eventually becomes the legacy people remember. Leadership is not measured by the number of followers you have. It is measured by the number of leaders you help create. A person who depends entirely on one leader remains limited. A person who has been encouraged, mentored, and empowered eventually begins inspiring others as well. This creates a ripple effect that extends far beyond one individual. Great leaders do not seek to become indispensable. They intentionally develop others so that leadership continues even after they step away. Think about the individuals who have influenced your life in meaningful ways. Many of them may never have appeared on television or led large organizations. Perhaps it was a teacher who believed in your potential, a parent who consistently demonstrated integrity, a coach who refused to let you quit, or a colleague who encouraged you during a difficult season. Their influence continues because they invested in people rather than simply pursuing personal success. That is how lasting legacies are created, one life at a time. Every interaction offers an opportunity to shape someone else's future. A few encouraging words can restore confidence in a person who is ready to give up. Honest feedback can help someone discover strengths they never recognized. Patience during another person's mistake can teach a lesson that harsh criticism never could. These moments often seem small, but their impact can last for years. You may never fully realize how far your influence extends because people often carry your example into places you will never see. Another important truth is that legacy requires consistency. Anyone can make a good impression for a day. True leadership is demonstrated through reliable character over time. People learn to trust individuals whose actions consistently reflect their values. They know what to expect because integrity is present regardless of circumstances. Whether facing success or failure, praise or criticism, ease or difficulty, consistent leaders remain guided by the same principles. This reliability becomes one of the strongest foundations of lasting influence. Creating a meaningful legacy also means placing long-term impact above short-term recognition. Many people seek immediate applause, but lasting leaders focus on planting seeds whose full results may not appear for years. They mentor others without expecting credit. They teach valuable lessons without demanding recognition. They contribute quietly because they understand that significance is often more important than visibility. Their greatest satisfaction comes from knowing they helped someone else succeed rather than receiving attention for themselves. Another essential part of building a legacy is remaining faithful to your values even when no one is watching. Public behavior may impress people temporarily, but private integrity shapes true character. The decisions you make when recognition is absent reveal who you really are. These unseen moments strengthen the habits and principles that eventually become visible during life's most important opportunities. A legacy built on authenticity lasts because it is rooted in genuine character rather than carefully managed appearances. Leading without a title means recognizing that every day presents opportunities to leave a positive mark on the people around you. Your attitude during difficult moments, your willingness to serve without recognition, your courage to stand for what is right, and your commitment to helping others grow all become part of the story people remember. Titles eventually disappear, positions change, and careers come to an end, but the influence created through kindness, integrity, humility, and purpose continues living in the choices, confidence, and leadership of those whose lives you chose to impact, creating a legacy that reaches far beyond anything a title could ever provide.